Right guys, well today I thought I'd give you a little review of a reel that well, I've had for a while now, but the original one was one of my first reels that I ever got when I was getting into fishing. I used to use it with my dad's, and it's the Abu Garcia 507. Now I used to use it in Ireland a lot for river fishing, trotting, a bit of feeder fishing, all that kind of thing, and it became a heavy reel that I just got used to using, because in fairness the tackle I used back then was a lot heavier. I used to use quite a heavy match rod, quite heavy feeder rods, because I was fishing the big lochs and the wild rivers in Southern Ireland, so you were casting bigger distances, if you will, than you would be on commercials. And it was, you know, what brought me into fishing was trying to find out the secrets of these big Irish lochs, which never did find the secrets, but I had some bloody good fun trying. Now the 501, or 507, sorry, is a Coalface Reel. Now, you don't see these often. I think there's only 2 or 3 companies that actually make them. And with the Coalface, instead of having a bail arm, you've got a button on the front to release the line. So you literally just put your finger there and you press the button for the click, and that means your line will then free spool, cast out, and click, back on again. Really good reels for, like I say, long trotting, because if you were stood out in the river with your stick float going down the river, you could just press the button, let your line peel out with your finger there controlling it, bit like a centre pin, but not as nostalgic, let's say. And then when you hit a fish, you could click, strike. The newer ones, which this is, if you will, this is the generation 2, I don't think they're as well made as the older ones. They seem a little bit more rattly inside, if you will, a bit more clumsy. Nothing seems to be as solid or as hardy as the old ones used to be. You know, maybe it's, again, nostalgia in the brain, I'm not sure, but it's really sad that I don't find it has the build quality of the more modern reels that you can go out and buy now. But to run you through it, to access your spool, this case in here, you just twist that and it comes off. And then in here, this is basically your bail arm. That little pin right there is what holds the line, just like a pole roller. That holds your line in place for when you're reeling it in. And to access the actual spool itself, you go that way, and it just spins off like that. And there's your spool line, right? Now all the spools, if you will, just wrap that back up, you get, in the box here, you get 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 spools with one reel. Now you don't get that often. And they're all quite shallow. They all do take different sort of amounts of line. Well, not all of them, but 2 or 3 of them do. Right, that's a shallow one. You've got this one in the packet here. That's a bit of a deeper one, as you can see. And on mine, I've got this one here, has got about £5 line on. This one here, I think I've got, looking at it again, that looks like about maybe £5 or £6 feeder line by the look of it, because it's different colour than most of the float line. Can't get away from Maxima, love Maxima line. But yeah, to basically, the line, the only problem is they've got no line clips, but on each spool, it's hard to notice, but right in the middle there, in between these grooves, you've got like, almost like pipe cleaners. And what that's to do is to buffer the spool and to stop your line from getting in behind it. And in fairness, again, they give you a bag full of them for if they wear out, get destroyed in, you know, bad weather or anything like that, or from overuse. So you can always replace them. It's dead easy. You literally just pull them out, put new ones in, and it's really easy. And when you put your spool on, if you look inside there, you've got these. Now these are like locator pins, because on the bottom of your spool you've got 2 pins. Those pins will slot in like that. As it hits the hits those metal rings, it locks in place, and that's what you want to do. So give it a pull like that, and it comes out. But if you put it in and you get it into those little locator rings, which is just having a look there. Got my drag quite loose at the moment, just tighten my drag up. Then I'll know. There we go. Yep, that's it's in that locator ring there, you can't pull it out. Once you've done that, get that piece again, put it on, screw it anti-clockwise until it's tight, give it a tweak, and that's it, set. All you do then for spooling up your rod is you get your line. It doesn't have to go behind the pin when you're doing this, but just get your line out like that, put the casing over it like that, and lock your casing in place, and there's your line out. And as you can see, it's caught on that pin. As soon as I press the button, that line will then pull off, then click it back again, fine. And that is the close face, the Abu. Now the drag is located underneath here. That is your actual drag system. It used to be on the other side of the handle because they were never ambidextrous reels. But they've now located it on the underside, which is better really, because when you're fighting a fish, it's very easy to just have your hand underneath and rolling your drag back and forth, you know. It is quite handy. The back wind is located on the handle. If you can see that there, right there on the handle. That's the back wind, so you just click it that way, back wind, put it the other way, back into forward. Really good. But for nostalgic reasons, these reels really do hold a place in my heart for being one of the first reels that I used as a kid. I mean, my first reel was a Shakespeare, a red and black one. I can't remember which one it was, but that was my first ever reel that I got off my granddad when I was about 5. And I used it to death. I had that reel for about 10 years. And when my dad used to go to the tackle shop at the end of the sort of season, if you will, used to take my reel with it and get it sort of re-greased and everything for me so that it could last for ages. I had it for well over 10 years, and then eventually one of the pins in the bail arm started giving up and it just had no strength left in it. Basically, if you hit into a fish, the bail arm popped off. So that was the end of that, no more. And that's when I was given this, if you will, after about 4 years of using it. And this became, like I say, at first my feeder reel, and then I started getting into trotting. And Dad showing me how to do long trotting and strep pegging and things like that on the big rivers in Ireland and on the Shannon, the Erne. And it was great, really was great. Used to get some big bags of roach and bream and hybrids, and even the occasional tension short or salmon. I caught a salmon on this, well, not this reel, but the one like this many years ago. So there you go. I thought I'd give you a little insight into the Abu 507 Mark II close face. Not as good as the original, but still a good reel to have. That's an all-rounder, can be used for everything. Alright, cheers guys, I thought I'd let you in on that one.